Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Right now, we are having a few technical problems. Blog Talk Radio, the host of our telephone system, seems to be not connecting. So if you have any messages that you want to send us for the time being, unless they come back up, please go ahead and make sure to put that in the comment section under the video. Remember, look at the video in the Politics Done on the Politics Done Right page. So let's get busy and start the show. We want to make sure that you know this is your show, that you know that you can call in. But of course, right now, because the phones are down, and it's not our fault. Let me just put it out there. It's not our fault that the phones are down, but they are down. But folks, we are going to have a great talk. Alex Jones, should he really have been taken off of social media? And likewise, we have the data, we have the stuff that says Republicans, if elected, they intend to do exactly what they told you they were going to do, and that is going to be officially repeal Obamacare. And when I say Obamacare, it's a lot deeper than that, the ACA, but it's not only that. It is also their intent to also destroy Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. And do you think I'm hyperventilating, or do you think I'm exaggerating when I say that? Let me warn you guys, you can't get something for nothing. And that big, huge tax cut that has ballooned the budget to over $800 billion, on its way to $1 trillion, the biggest deficit ever in peace times, that has to come from somewhere. And that somewhere has to be where the cash is. And the cash is with Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, all the others. So folks, do not be fooled. Do not be fooled. When you make your selection in November, you will determine the future of yourself, your kids, and your parents who are currently on Social Security, because they're coming for it. These guys are Ayn Randian, which means they do not believe in a state that provides anything but providing for those who already have. That's who gets taken care of. The book that I'm writing called Make America Utopia. Think about that. That is what we want to do. And the reason I'm doing that is because I am going to show us how we've been indoctrinated to think a certain way. By design. From the beginning. All of us are indoctrinated. I am. You are. Everybody is. But indoctrination can be a positive. Indoctrination can be a negative. I am not a church-going person. However, let me tell you something from a not church-going person. I grew up a Christian, and I think the values that I was indoctrinated in out of Christianity were good values for the most part. And to this date, I still live those values. I'm a sinner. Well, I don't use those words sinners and all of that anymore because, like I said, I'm a humanist. But the values that I learned as a Christian, because they were good values, I still do unto others as I'd have them do unto me. I still try not to hurt people. I still try to do what's positive. I still try to go out there and be as altruistic as I can. I still go out there and try to help the other person, because that is what I learned growing up. Right? So indoctrination does not have to be a negative. Indoctrination can be something that works out good. The indoctrination that we received in the United States of America, however, it it served a purpose to enrich a few, to make a few comfortable, and to leave the rest behind. And we were indoctrinated into believing that that was okay. I'll explain all of that in the book. And the reason I don't want to definitely go through that right now is because, like I said, we have a subject at hand, first of all. But before we get into the subject, etc., I want to tell you a little bit about this book that I am writing. I really, really want you to go ahead and start. I need subscriptions. I need people to subscribe to the show. I need people to subscribe to the program, because that is what gives us the wherewithal to keep us all informed, right? So what I'm doing as I speak right now is, as usual, because I had problems with getting the network together, I didn't get a chance to put all the pieces that I wanted to put together into the program. But what I want to tell you folks is this, right? We were indoctrinated in this country. And like I mentioned before, indoctrination is not necessarily a bad thing if the type of indoctrination that you're getting is positive for humanity, right? It is when you reach that point in life where somehow it's not working for us all. But anyway, before I start with the program, this is what I want to show you guys. This is the book, How to Make America Utopia. And here's it. That's the cover of the book. It's not written yet. I'm working on the introduction right now. That's where I started today with the indoctrination, because the introduction is going to talk about the indoctrination, etc. And then I already have the table of contents and everything published on the site. If you become a subscriber right now, go ahead. If you go right now to egbertowillies.com/ if you go to patreon.com/politics done right, right? There is the link. I have it on the screen right now. If you go to patreon.com/politics done right, if you click on that, it'll take you to the book, and you can actually get to the table of contents of the book that I'm writing. And where I'm going through a lot of these issues, that's what we are going to talk about, the indoctrination. But today's show is not about the book. Today's show is about Alex Jones. Today's show is about healthcare. And you're going to hear us talking about healthcare a whole lot. And why are we going to talk about healthcare a whole lot? Because, folks, it is so important. I'm going to try to get us on. I really want to get us get the phone system going. I'll see if I can somehow, as we're keeping up here trying, I'm going to keep trying to connect to these guys and see if what they're having is just some sort of a technical problems with the phone, because I'm going to want to hear your input on both Alex Jones and on healthcare, because I think it is so important. Anyhow, so title of the show today, Alex Jones removal from social media bad. GOP promised to take away healthcare. All right, folks, I need you to go ahead, and if you're just joining us, please share. Go ahead right now and share this on your wall, share this on your Tumblr, share this on your Twitter, share this everywhere on your page. Why? Because a lot of this that we're going to cover here, you don't necessarily get it covered on mainstream media, because they cannot. Why can't they? Because they're dependent on advertisers, and many times these things that we talk about or against their advertiser. Let's give an example. How can they talk about getting rid of the depletion allowance for people who are drilling for oil? How can they talk about the oil was there before anybody else was in this planet, and as such, that oil should not belong to just a few people, but it should belong to us all? Yes, we pay the innovators who dug for it, but after they've dug for it, all the profits should really go into the U.S. Treasury. Why? Because it is the oil of the commons. It belongs to us all. They can't talk about that. So when I'm done with that book and I speak about all these particular issues, right, re-educating us, unindoctrinating us with things that take our values away, and then re-indoctrinating us with things that move us forward, move us positive. So anyhow, that's why they can't talk about it, but we can. We can definitely talk about things that they cannot talk about, because they don't want you to be smart. They don't want you to be educated. They don't want you to have your own mind. Folks, if you're just joining us, please go ahead and share this program. It is essential that we make sure others see this type of programming. And why? Because this is how we change. This is how we change the paradigm. This is how we do it. We need you to do that. Okay, folks, here we go. The subtitle of the show, PDR, Politics Done Right, covers two subjects today. One, Alex Jones' removal from social media is a danger for progressives. And two, Republicans promise to take away the health care many have and want. Okay, here we go. Today, Politics Done Right covers two subjects. The first covers Alex Jones. All the major social media platforms summarily dumped him off their networks. To be clear, Jones is cancer. Unfortunately, I am concerned that he was an easy peon to use to get at progressives in the future. Jones has a relatively small following, but most sensible Americans know he is just a scam artist. Removing him provide an excuse to remove more caustic progressives who may be really informational but not politically correct, but who has an audience. Okay? If you think that doesn't cover you because, oh my God, I am working for a corporation and that corporation has the best healthcare on the planet. The reason that healthcare at that corporation is more expensive than it needs to be. Let's start about corporations here in Texas. The mere fact that Texas left billions of dollars on the table. The mere fact that they did not accept the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act means that we are paying taxes that's not coming back into this country. But guess what, my friends? And at the same time, we are paying more for health insurance because we have 1 million Texans that those taxes would have brought into the healthcare system so that we would all pay less. We gave it away. That is not a conservative value. That is fiscal irresponsibility. And that's what we did. We decided to be fiscally irresponsible but we'll cover that when we talk about healthcare. But right now we're going to talk to brother Alex Jones. And I would love to interview Alex Jones. I'd love to bring Alex Jones on my program. I'll give him a hard time. But, I understand Alex. Alex Jones is doing that stuff to make a buck and for others to use him as a platform. We are doing this as progressives not to make a buck. Yeah, we have to live, but what we're doing is we're trying to change minds. We're trying to change outcomes. We're trying to make better people. We're trying to make sure that folks can get ahead. The 80% of people right now in this country that are simply a paycheck away from not being able to pay their bills, not being able to do what's right. Folks, if you're just joining us, please share the program. It is essential that we get this message out. This is a message for you. If you are not in the plutocracy, if you are not in the top 10%, man, do you need this message. And if you're in the top 10%, you need this message too, because most people don't know. Most people that their policies are harming the vast majority of us, they don't know. Why? Remember how I started the program? We are indoctrinated into thinking this is the way things are supposed to be, as if it is divine. It is not. We are the ones. We are the creators. We are the ones who make things happen. We are the ones who decide if this is what we're going to accept. Okay, so before I start with the blog of the week, which I'm going to right now, I want to remind you that in Texas, the Board of Education voted to remove Hillary Clinton and Helen Keller from history lessons. Ali Velshi and Stephanie Rule are joined by a Texas government official to discuss that earlier today, and it wasn't pretty. But let me tell you something, folks. Why would any person take whether you're the most conservative person on the planet, why would you remove Hillary Clinton as a history subject? Hillary Clinton, I am not a fan of Hillary Clinton, but Hillary Clinton is a good person. Hillary Clinton is a historical subject. Hillary Clinton did a whole lot of good in Texas. Hillary Clinton brought a whole lot of Latinos into the voting fold in South Texas. That woman is a good woman. Later on, people change. Later on, the plutocracy has a way of grabbing you. But we're human beings. Anyhow, folks, do you know what time it is?
It's time for the weekly blog post.
Está bien, señores. Es el tiempo para el blog semanal. Es el tiempo para el blog semanal. It's time for the weekly blog post. Title of the blog post is, wait a minute, this is not the blog post that I wanted. The blog post that I wanted featured a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, Eleanor Goldfield, and I am going to get that blog of the week because what she did, she wrote a piece that was the right thing to say about Alex Jones. Alex Jones, let me tell you, in my humble opinion, should not have been removed from social media at all. I don't like Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones is a liar. I think Alex Jones is a conspiracy theorist. I think Alex Jones is a danger to many, many people. But I don't think Alex Jones is the problem. I think total dissemination of information is the problem. Alex Jones can go out there and say anything. Does anybody believe that wrestling is real? Do we intend to ban wrestling? We all know wrestling is fake, but we have a whole industry around wrestling. Leave Alex Jones alone. So here's the title of the blog of the week. Act Out, Eleanor Goldfield explains why Alex Jones banning terrible for the left. Here it goes, my brothers and sisters. Too many progressives rejoiced when most social media companies banned Alex Jones, the crazy right-wing conspiracy theory promoting uncivil human being. When one examines the act by these companies through analytical lenses, that ouster is dangerous for the left and progressives. Why? Eleanor explains. Act Out Eleanor Goldfield makes some very important points that detail why progressives should not rejoice over Alex Jones' ouster from social media. She quoted the Black Agenda Report's Margaret Kimberly's piece titled Freedom Rider, Social Media's Danger to the Black Left, where she wrote the following. And this is Margaret Kimberly saying, they are coming after us and they will use many ruses to do it. Right-wing pundit Alex Jones was recently kicked off Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube for violation of terms of service. There is nothing new about Jones' antics. He has been violating those terms for years without consequence. The sudden concern for what he has done for years is highly suspect. Some observers believe that he is in fact a United States intelligence asset. Now that is my friend saying that. I don't know that the United States intelligence assets would use somebody like him as an asset, other than if they're doing it unknowingly. But I don't think that, that's the case. Old-fashioned address books gathering dust need to be resurrected. Anyhow, there is no reason for anyone on the left to cheer Jones being censored. The move against him will be used to defend further censoring of left-wing voices. There will always be Alex Jones-like characters on social media. His absence helps no one except the intelligence apparatus, who will find new ways to use our words and activities against us. We are living in an era when every person on the planet is under surveillance, regardless of their ideology or political activity. So says Goldfield. Now continuing. Goldfield also pointed out, if the social media platforms were being true to policy, the president of the United States would be banned from the platform as well. After all, the president threatened war with nuclear weapons on Twitter. But as Kimberly noted, this isn't about Jones. Eleanor Goldfield continued, this is about coordinated state and corporate sponsored censorship of dissenting voices, known as fascism. Okay? Now, because while these platforms are private companies, they are private companies with deep, deep connections to the state. She went on to call the Congress people who interviewed Mark Zuckerberg his employees. Why? He donated $60,000 to the congressional members previous to his testimony. So here you go. You give a whole lot of money to these Congress people, and guess what's happening? These are the guys asking you questions. You think those questions are going to be harsh? You think those questions are going to be real? Come on, you're giving them money. Folks, if you're just joining us, please remember to share this program. We need to look at alternatives. We need to expand our thinking process. We need to realize something that is very important. All that you may think isn't necessarily so. All that you think isn't necessarily so. Continuing. Goldfield went on to echo something most of us in the progressive space who are critical of our economic system and corporatocracy are experiencing, the down-throttling of our posts on social media, which limits our reach. She reminded us that Telesur was shut down by Facebook on false premises. The censorship of our voices is already in full swing, Goldfield said, and to think that the recent all-out ban on Alex Jones is where this would end is dangerously naive. We see where this is going, and we need to address this not only in outward ways like this, but also with each other in order to give alternatives. Let me tell you something, folks, and I'm going to tell you something about progressive shows like mine and others, right? There is a concerted effort to limit our scope. Notice one of the things that I ask all of you when you come onto the show, whether you agree with what I'm saying or not, I think you believe the right that I have and you have to say it, listen to it, or whatever. But what has been happening over the last several months, and I knew exactly when it happened, right, is we started to have throttling of progressive shows like this, and I imagine on some types of right shows as well. Anything that got too out of the rails. For those of you who follow the programs a lot, you notice I always talk about the left rail and the right rail, and I always talk about these rails not necessarily being all that divergent. In fact, they're never divergent. They're always moving in the same direction, just one on the left side, one on the right side. I'll just give you one instance here, okay? When I started this project, the project of going completely and entirely and I'm going to tell you a little bit deeper than I've said before. I decided to leave my software development company. I developed software and all that good stuff, and I'm going to continue with the blog a bit, but I need to tell you this. Develop the software and all of that. I said to myself, you know, all the while I've always been politically active and thought it was necessary to be politically involved because our country was going to hell. I have a daughter who's studying to be a doctor, and the way things are going right now, there will be no real America left for our millennials because we have taken everything and we have continuously extracted and extracted and extracted constantly. So I said, you know, every time I would say, I got to do something about it, and I started blogging and all that kind of stuff. Well, guess what? The blogging became very good. When I say very good, I mean I could blog, and I could spend more time blogging and less time developing software because, you know, we advertise on the websites, and the website could bring in some alternate income to go ahead and, you know, do things. And there are a lot of bloggers, good bloggers out there that as their material got good coverage because it was it served the purpose, it was doing a job. So in effect, I could write blogs and I could have this show and just go on. And people would say, Berta, how do you make a living? I'm like, I'm a blogger. So, oh, really? Yeah, because ads are paying itself on my thing, so I can eat. Well, one day this year, and I remember you saw all that advertising about the algorithm changing on Facebook and all of that. I knew exactly the date that the algorithm changed. I lost 90% of my income. But let me tell you worse. Our drive, our throughput, our throttling down was amazing. We went from, by the time a show was done, we could get 6,000 to 12,000 right away. People watching the show either right away or through, on the same thing after. And after that day, it was so hard it disappeared. And what did I say? That's when you saw me come into you guys and say, folks, we have to defeat the algorithm. You have to share. You have to share. So there are things that you really like that are progressives. The only way that it gets performance is if you actively share. Facebook is going to do nothing to promote it as it did before, or do nothing. In other words, we have over, in my system, we have over 70,000 to 80,000 people who subscribe to our pages. And very few get notifications, or very few of our stuff get into their feeds. That is not by accident. It is not by accident, and it happened almost overnight. That is what happens when you have big corporations that control things, So we had to find alternative methods, and that is the reason we have things like Patreon, where you actively come in and support us. And with Patreon itself now, we get to come to you, or you get notifications directly, and we don't depend on this company that's going to put you in a feed or anything like that. That's why we also do direct mail-in, because that is our one-to-one communication with each of our people. with each of the people that subscribe to us. So we are having to find alternatives ways to reach people because the corporatocracy continue to try to keep us within those two rails where they control the message. And if we go too far to the left of the message or too far to the right of the message, you're clamped. And that is what we're fighting. So continuing with Goldfield. Goldfield said, there is talk among many activists to go back to the old days of emails, face-to-face meetups, newsletters, phone calls, and other methods not controlled by the mega corporations. And, you know, that's what, believe it or not, that's what personally Politics Done Right has started to do. You know, we've started increasing our mailing list. We've started with patreon.com where we ask for subscribers to stay alive. We are trying to create that direct one-to-one relationship with our listeners, and those with the expectation that those listeners will be breeders of others so that we can expand geometrically without the control of the corporatocracy, or with little control of the corporatocracy, or control that they cannot easily remove. So we cannot turn back, but she said that while we should incorporate those methods, we cannot turn back the time to the pre-internet days, nor should we have to. The internet is a tool of the people, Goldfield said, and if we work smart and work together, we can ensure that it stays that way. She then pointed out things like municipal broadband that decouples our access to the internet from the lines of big companies like Verizon and others. The other option is decoupling our social media from the big companies like Facebook, and instead create and use decentralized platforms like that are more democratic. Take these bands as warning bells, Goldfield said, and let's go to work finding better and safer, more open ways of connecting on the internet. Well said, and something we better ponder. Our progressive message is a threat to the corporatocracy, the plutocracy. They are beginning to act out. That is what it's all about, my brothers and sisters. That is what it's all about. So that is the first blog of the week that I want to do. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and see. I see how many disagree with me on Alex Jones, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you are going to say, come on, Egberto. Alex Jones was just simply too toxic and he needed to go. So let me see what you're saying, and then I'll take it from there. So bear with me, my brothers and my sisters. Let me get to that. Let me get to the page where I can go ahead and answer your questions. But, you know, we have to, what I try to tell all of us, right, is let's not necessarily immediately look at what we think. You know, there are a lot of times that things are not the way we think they are, right? And that is what we have to fight against. Sometimes things just are not the way we think they are. All right, let me get to you now. Let's see, how do I get there? Let's go there. I think I can get there from here, and then I'll answer your questions that you have right now. Okay, I think I am there. Let's see, where is the top or where is the bottom? 13 minutes, 6 minutes. Let's go from the top. It looks like I start from the top. Okay, Michael Rudnin, I'll have to disagree with you about Alex Jones. He's lied so often to us, to so many, that his removal was an improvement to truth on the internet. You know, I agree with you, Mr. Rudnin. He was a liar. But there are a lot of liars on the internet as well. He was a bad one, and he's a cancer, and he's disruptive and all of that. You are absolutely correct. But we are progressives, in my opinion. I think we let the truth reign, right? And if I don't think we get rid of Alex Jones. I think you make sure programs like Politics Done Right and the Majority Report has more throughput. In other words, Alex Jones fans are fanatic. They will go out there and he comes on and they will throw his stuff out there. They will be promoting his product, his shows, his programs. We need to have that same fervor for the truth. We need to have that same fervor for progressive messages like what we're doing here at Politics Done Right. So the answer to Alex Jones is not to ban Alex Jones, because it gives these guys impetus to ban us as well, but to support those programs like Politics Done Right, but to support those programs like the Majority Report. All right, secular humanism has better values, but that's not what this show is about to be about, right? No, sir. Okay, Ashley Miller. Oh, thank you for promoting patreon.com/politics done right, Ashley. I appreciate that quite well. Yep, please, folks, remember, I'm writing the book that says Make America Utopia, right? It's not quite Make America Utopia. The real name is How to Make America Utopia. And it goes off of Trump's Make America Great Again. Well, no, we're going to say How to Make America Utopia. I rather that. That is a positive thing. We're going to make America a great place for everybody. Absolutely everybody is going to have a good life. Okay, 2 million is relatively small. Yes, sir. Okay, let's see. Michael Redden, Alex Jones said he was a performance artist in a court appearance. So, yeah, he's just doing it to make a buck, and he's screwing with us many in the process. True. But we are, democracy requires intelligent folk, right? And Americans are we have the ability to be very intelligent. And we, as progressivism rose, we became intelligent. For all of you who watch the show know I always speak about the Powell Manifesto. The Powell Manifesto was intent to dumbify us, create institution that created lies that others would believe. Plausibility gave lies plausibility, and that plausible lies are things that Alex Jones and others would run with. And that is why programs like ours and many others are there to refute that, and we're there to refute that in a manner that we get to people and get it done. But again, we can't have the fervor of the Alex Jones crowd larger than those that follow us. Okay, let's see. Egberto, if you ever get Alex Jones on the show, be ready to call him out on his worst. I tell you what, Michael, if I get Alex Jones on the show, I won't be expecting you guys to call and help me out, because I don't know all the things that Alex Jones have said, because I listen to him every so often, because again, you always need to know what you're up against. But I know that a lot of you have heard much more than I have. Okay, Mike Cisak, yeah, why remove Hillary? Other than to update the information to include all the criminal acts she's guilty of. Oh, here we go. Case Escamilla, my brother, disagree. I think posting fake technology and platforms is a bad thing. 45 won the U.S. election from 200 million fake. Okay, Escamilla, you're right. That I think the 200 million messages that went out there were fake. And that is partially why Trump won. I agree with you there. I want to ask you something, and if you're still around, I'd love for you to answer this. Facebook went to both Hillary Clinton and Trump, the people of both of them. And they said, hey, we can embed a Facebook person in each of these campaigns to help you push your message. Something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Hillary said no. Trump said yes. I read that. I don't recall where I read that, but I read that from a reputable source. Okay, so Trump had somebody embedded in there, and he made effective use of it. So, what am I trying to say here? If we had effective refuting of Trump's crap, we know what Trump's folks were getting. We know what the voters who were amenable to his message was getting. We could just as well earn their vote by using the Trump message itself, refuting it, and then turning it around to show that he's misleading them. Because now that we have coal ash in the rivers in West Virginia, we could tell them, now that we have the EPA allowing the release of more toxic chemicals in the air here in Pasadena, where is Pasadena Alley, or rather Cancer Alley, a group of folk that mostly voted for Trump. So he's killing his own people. He's polluting his own people. If we had laid that message out. You see, I used to see all these messages on one little program, Politics Done Right, or Majority Report, or the Turks Network, that the masses don't see. We depend on you to share and get the masses to see. Couldn't solve that problem, Case, but Case, we could have used the bad information these guys are given, correct it, point folks elsewhere in time before it got a chance to cauterize in people's minds. That is a failure many times on us, and I don't want to be graphic about that, but in a lot of ways, that is a failure on us because we didn't do our job. Michael Moore would tell you as well. Michael Moore was on the ground. Michael Moore was saying, hey guys, things are turning because of the messaging that's going out here. You're not here, Miss Clinton. Where are you? And Brooklyn, where Hillary's stuff was run from, was, don't worry about it. We got it. Don't worry about it. We got it. They didn't. So I think I can empathize with what you're saying, my brother, and I understand what you're saying. And what you're saying, it's not that I don't think it's wrong, but I think it is important for us to note that Trump didn't win the election, first of all. He won the Electoral College. Secondly, I think it is important for us to note that where he won, if we had just done our job, that small amount of vote would not have mattered. All right, let me get to the other one case. Let's see. Bruce, done mowing the lawn. Okay, wow, you were mowing the lawn in the 90-something degree weather. Bruce, take care of yourself, brother. Mike Cisak, DOJ is taking a hard look at Hillary Clinton's clearly illegal use of homebrew email server to conduct class. Oh boy, you guys won't let it go. You guys, I tell you, I don't know the pathology that exists in your head right now, my dear friend, my dear brother Cisak, that have you continuing with that. I don't know. But I mean, it is unproductive, but I imagine you'll stay there. Donna J. Ellis, thank you for the love. Michael Rudnin, cancer needs to be removed. Yes, cancer needs to be removed, and we can remove lion cancer with truth chemotherapy. We can make the truth be chemotherapy. All right, Mike Cisak, one law, 18 U.S. Code 1, 1924 forbids unauthorized removal and retention. All right, if we judge everybody by that, they're all going to jail, and you know it. Michael Rudnin, Americans have a difficult time discerning truth from fake news. Yes, because we don't get a chance to do the job right. And I see you left an article there. I'll have to read that one later. Donna Ellis, how can I support you? You can support me, Donna, by going to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. That is patreon.com/politicsdoneright. What I'm going to do right now, since you ask, is put that on the screen since the telephones are down right now. And you see where it says that address right there. It says, let me take the book away. It shows you where it says http://patreon.com/politicsdoneright. You go there, you can support us and make sure that we can get this, continue to get this message out. Thank you so kindly for offering. Michael Rudnin, case, you are talking about this when you mentioned $200 million in fake ads. I'll read the article after the show. Thank you very much. Okay, Michael Rudnin, Virginia has had bad experiences with coal ash pollution. They're going to oppose the EPA rollbacks on big coal. I have no idea how it will go, but I hope Seattle Times, I see you got an article. Man, what, we were missing that when you were gone for a while, Michael Rudnin, because I like to go back, and a lot of times that you come up with those articles, I love to go back and read those because I find them very, very important. I find that we learn a lot from them. I find that it is very necessary. Okay, the second subject, and we're starting it a little bit late, but the second subject is about healthcare. And what it turns out to be is that we have to start letting Americans know that their vote in November, first of all, you're going to get a shock of your life in October, okay? Guess what comes out in October? In October, you get your new bill for the Affordable Care Act, and also many of your companies give you their new bills. And you're going to see the direct result of what President Trump has caused with his sabotage of the Affordable Care Act, with his sabotage of healthcare, with his sabotage of all that is there to help the average American citizen. And that's what you're going to find. Folks, if you're just joining us, please do remember to share this program on your wall, on your page, on your Twitter, on your Tumblr, on your Instagram, on your everything. Why? Because that is how we get the progressive message out. That is how we educate people. And for those of you who constantly listen, you know the reason why the mainstream media cannot cover a lot of what we cover, because they have to be, well, they're really owned by the people that advertise for them. We're owned by you. This is your show. You determine where it goes. You determine what it's all about. I'm going to try to see if I can connect those phones one more time. But it seems like they're down. This is about the third time in 3 weeks that we've had a problem connecting with Blog Talk Radio, which means we've lost out on some of that audience right now that would be listening to Blog Talk Radio, which is not a good thing. We have a great audience at Blog Talk Radio on that network as well. Anyhow, if elected, Republicans promise to take away the health care many have and many want. And we have the messaging to prove it. We have the messaging to prove it. Don't believe the lies. First of all, I want to warn you guys of something that is happening. Right now, when you see your health care bill for 2000, for those of you who are on the market, you're going to see that they go real high. But they've also allowed something, cheap insurance. You remember those insurance policies that you could find and it looked like it was too cheap, but you couldn't help but buy it because you got insurance now and it costs a lot less than the others? Trump has allowed that back onto the market, or is allowing that back onto the market. What it really means is that you'll have coverage that isn't worth the paper it's written on. And you need to read that stuff. And you need to be very, very careful. I'm warning you right now, folks. The health insurance market is a mess. Trump has destroyed it. And he's used every loophole in the Affordable Care Act to bring in products to destroy it. And you have to be careful of what you're buying. Because here's the problem. At any given time, most people are healthy, right? When I say healthy, I mean fairly healthy. So they don't really get to use, they don't get to use healthcare in a very major way. So at any given time, you'll only have, let's say, 10, 15, 20% of people that are going to notice how bad the policies are that they're purchasing. That's not bad. That's not bad enough to lose an election. And that's the game they play with you. They know that in any given year, all of you are not sick. And if in every given year, all of you are not sick, all of you don't know that you bought junk insurance. And that's the trick. I can sell millions of junk insurance policies. And it's okay if 10 or 15 or 20% of those people have problems. You know why? It's not enough to mess an election up. And for those who didn't use the insurance and only had to pay a cheap price, for them, hey, they only paid a cheap price. Now, remember, if 100 people are using insurance, 20% and all of that 100 people buy junk insurance, and 20 of those people get sick. There are 20 pissed off people because they realize insurance is junk. But there are 80 people that are not pissed off. And they're not pissed off because if they had real insurance, they would have spent a lot more than they're spending right now. So they got a break. That 80% got a break because they didn't get sick and they bought junk. So they didn't get a chance to feel bad about buying junk, but they still saved money. That is I hope I relayed that correctly, because people don't understand how junk insurance work and why junk insurance work. Junk insurance work because most people are not sick at any given time. That is why it works. I want you to remember to tell people that. But because we don't know who specifically is going to get sick, nobody should have junk insurance. But those 80% that bought junk insurance and didn't have to use it are happy because in reality, they did save money. You understand what I'm saying? And that is the reason why, the people who are suffering can say, oh my God, how can they all keep messing up like that? And that is because most people are not sick at any given time. And that is why you need single payer health care for all, because that is why you have to have a system where everybody has the same skin in the game, proportionally that is, because then nobody feels cheated. You see, I tell you something. That person who bought that junk insurance policy that didn't have to use it, and that person who bought the expensive good insurance that didn't have to use it, the person who bought junk feels, hey, I got me a deal. The person who was responsible and bought important insurance, they sit down and said, damn, since I didn't get sick, I should have just bought the junk. But that's not how it works. That's why we need complete nationalized single-payer healthcare. Anyhow, the 2018 midterm election is existential. It is one no one must sit out. We want more than a blue wave. We need a tsunami to reverse the destruction of healthcare, the environment, and civility under this administration. If you doubt that your health care and your life is at risk, you should just listen to the words of Republicans' intent. As reported by Protect or Care, recently, Paul Rand became the latest Republican to call for a return to full health repeal. Paul Rand said, "Good reforms mean that we can better fulfill the mission of these important programs, health and retirement security, without bankrupting the country. And that's why the kind of reforms we've been talking about, I think, are so necessary." He was asked, okay, but what would depend on? I mean, the Senate didn't even agree with you. That would depend on having a broader control of Congress that you had. Rand then returned and said, "We failed to pass our budget or entitlement reform bill on health care by one vote in the Senate." That's correct. Mayers then says, asking him, "So I guess, what are the prospects of reining that in?" Because then Rand interjected, "I think the election will have to determine that, because based upon our vote count in the Senate, we keep the House majority in the House, which I think we will, and then you have to have enough of a majority in the Senate to be able to pass healthcare reform." So you see, healthcare reform, Trump Care 2.0. We'll tell you about that in a little bit. He says, we want to pass healthcare reform. That's what he wants to do. But do people in Janesville, do people in Wisconsin, is that what they want? Do they really want their benefits taken away? Rand, did I say that? No, I know, but do they? I think they want to see an end to double-digit premium increases. I think they want to see that we have Medicare on a path to solvency. I don't think they want to see $200 million people get added to Medicare to accelerate this bankruptcy. In other words, you don't want Medicare for all. Let's see, $1 million get to Medicare accelerated bankruptcy, which is what a lot of people are running for, like Tammy and others. Yes, we're running for Medicare for all, of course. I think if you take a look at our proposals, they would have lowered healthcare premiums. It would have still protected pre-existing conditions. It would have done more to give people more choices. Now, that is a bold-faced lie. So, my dear friend Escamilla, when you talk about Alex Jones lying and so forth, the Paul Rands lie a whole lot more, but their lies are more dangerous because they have power. It is important to note that when a country that spends more than any country in the industrialized world per capita on healthcare, while many still have no health insurance, it means they are running an inefficient system. And of course, we know that. The market does not work with healthcare because the sick rarely have recourse or timely choices. We must remember the kinds of changes Paul Rand and Republicans wanted. Thanks to John McCain's last substantive vote, the GOP murder of Americans was not implemented. Is murder an uncivil phrasing of Republicans' American Health Care Act? Not at all. It may not be harsh enough because it would have been a peacetime slaughter that would have gone poorly reported. Their policies cause and would cause the discernible deaths of hundreds of thousands. Let's remember what the Trump Republican healthcare bill would have done. And here we go. Raise premiums by double digits. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office found that a key part of the American Health Care Act, that's the Trump Care, repealing the requirement that most people have health insurance, and was enacted as part of the GOP tax bill, will raise premiums 10%. Imposed an age tax, older Americans would have to pay nearly double, $12,000 more. The American Health Care Act would have imposed that the AARP calls an age tax on older Americans by cutting the amount of assistance older people receive and by allowing insurance to charge people over 50 times more. Nationally, out-of-pocket costs for older people could have increased by as much as $11,917 by 2026. People, are you listening? Older folk, are you listening? People on Medicare, are you listening? That is Trump Care 2.0. Increase premiums for people with pre-existing conditions by up to $150,000, which means you go uninsured. Nobody's going to pay $150,000 a year for insurance, so it means you go uninsured. The American Health Care Act would have allowed states to eliminate community rating, meaning insurers would be able to charge people with pre-existing conditions more. This surcharge would have been in the tens of thousands of dollars and even six figures. up to $4,270 for asthma, up to $17,060 for pregnancy, up to $26,180 for rheumatoid arthritis, and up to $140,000 and $140,150 for metastatic cancer. That's what you're going to get if they are elected. Less than 23 million Americans would have lost coverage. By 26, or rather more than 23 million Americans would have lost coverage. By 2026, 23 million U.S. residents would have lost coverage under the bill. There is nothing Republicans are doing or planning for healthcare that can or will work. And that is an absolute statement. There is only one solution that will save money and get everyone insured. It is a mathematical absolute. I repeat, it is a mathematical absolute that is Medicare for all, and I explained it on my Politics Done Right show a few days ago, is the answer that it's the only answer to our healthcare problem. Single payer, Medicare for all. It's not up for argument. The math is absolute. Everything else around it are frills. Everything else around it are lies. You cannot say that you can take profit out of a system and make it more efficient when that system does not have where the protagonists of that system, the patients, don't really have choice. It is a mathematical impossibility for anything but single payer to be less expensive. And I will discuss that. I will debate that. I will talk to that with anybody. And we will go through the numbers with anybody who is willing to do so. But my dear brothers and sisters, it is a mathematical impossibility that Medicare for all, our system, can that our system can any way, in any form, be better than Medicare for all. Let's remember that. That's an absolute statement. I'm willing to debate any and everywhere. Okay, now let's see if I have any more. Alex, Michael Rudden, I'll have to disagree with you about. Oh, okay, I think I got that taken care of already. Let me scroll down to see if that's more. Oh, here we go. All right, okay. Michael, the average. Okay, Michael, let's see where I dropped off the last. Egberto, why don't you promote cash-only primary? Well, I'll go to that one in a little bit. Kathleen Morgan says, Michael, I'd have to get, let's back up. I guess that was a conversation that was going before. Let's see. Michael Running case you're talking about. Okay, we go. Michael Run, Virginia. Yes, I read that one. I think the mainstream network media has given Trump $5 billion in free airtime. Yes, you're absolutely correct. On 9/11, my brother shared a photo of a pastel drawing. This is from Kathleen Morgan. A pastel drawing by late Mom Drew. It was of the Twin Towers with smoke billowing, the Statue of Liberty, an American flag, and a firefighter. I shared the photo of that drawing to my Facebook page, and at some point, FB deleted the photo from my page and my brother's page. That is a shame. Matthew Tillman, how you doing, Matthew? Kathleen Morgan, Michael, I have to get my brother to share it again. Yeah, please do. Junk insurance isn't the only way Trump and the Republicans have screwed the American people. As our fellow Americans get sick, such becomes most evident. NBC News, junk insurance. I'm going to look at that one, Michael. I didn't see that one. Egberto, this is from Mike Cesek. Egberto, why don't you promote cash-only primary care doctors? They provide 97% coverage at a fraction of ACA healthcare policies. People, you know why, Michael? I'll tell you why. Because that statement is fraudulent. We don't buy insurance because most people don't use it. We buy insurance because we don't know who of those people will need it. And when who of those people need it, the only way we get costs down is having taken the money from all those other people that didn't need it to pay for the person who needed it. What makes it fair is that it's random, or theoretically random, who is going to need it. Now, some of you are going to say, well, look, some people eat bad. Some people take care of themselves better. Some people do this. Some people do that. Later on, we can give incentives on premiums based on people's behavior. I don't know how we do that right now because there are a lot of things. Some people play tennis and they have a higher risk of injury of a joint. Some people eat a whole lot and have a higher risk for cholesterol, but yet some foods don't affect some people. So those things are so randomized that I'd rather just say we all pay a flat rate. And that flat rate is done through Medicare for All, my dear brother, Mike Cisak. Okay, Michael Rudnan says, bankrupting the country, the tax cuts on the wealthy in the top cause, followed by shortly by overblown budget. Correctly. Mike Cisak, oh, hey, you actually brought up an interesting idea. I'm going to have to research this one. I've looked into that already. And you know, again, for small things, it works fine, Rudnan. It works fine. Mike Cisak is correct. The problem is we don't know which person is going to develop some sort of metastatic cancer. We don't know which one of us are going to develop some kind of scleroderma, lupus, or anything like that. And that is why you need the real kind of insurance. Most of us don't, right? But we don't know which one of us will. And that's why we need a blanket. Otherwise, you know what happens. Michael, the average, Michael Cisak, the average is around $50 a month, but will be obvious to be, yeah, I mean, and that is good, Cisak. That would be good if we all just needed minor repairs, but that's not the case. Okay, Mike said the cause of this coming debt deluge is no mystery. So, nope, the cause of the debt deluge is not Social Security. If we want to make Social Security solvent, it is easy to do. Take the cap off. The people who support Social Security all make less than $115,000 or so. All the other people that make millions and 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, they are capped at only paying Social Security on a small amount of their income. Raise the cap of Social Security and immediately Social Security is solvent forever. In fact, we'll have to drop the rates because we'd have collected so much money. So let's get it straight, Mr. Cisak. We put false restraints on Social Security, and then we judge it based on the false restraints. That's why I tell you we lie to our population a lot, and why you need the politics done right of the world, so that we don't lie to them anymore. Okay, that's the last one that I have from Cisak, and if any more comes in, I'll answer them later. But anyhow, folks, please remember this is a political show, and what I want to ask you to do is please make sure to go to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Again, that's patreon.com/politicsdoneright. Become a member. We need your support. That is the only way we can continue this. We need thousands of low-end donors, supporters, subscribers. And for that, we're going to give you stuff. We have our, and we haven't sent them out yet, but we need you. We're going to come and send you an email for addresses pretty soon. But we have our bumper stickers, and we're going to have all the things to start giving out. We got a generous donation today. I'm going to put that up on the bulletin board pretty soon. So look, we need support, and we need the support as soon as possible to patreon.com/politicsdoneright. patreon.com/politicsdoneright. We made a commitment to you to bring you truth, to bring you how things really are. And we want to ask you to make a commitment to help us continue helping the rest of the folks around the country, to make sure that we show folk how to best support this democracy. And I'll tell you something. Let's say we get a blue wave. If you think that's the end, that's just the beginning. Because if we get a blue wave, the corporatocracy will be on the skin of every single person that got elected and try to drag them in. So we're going to have to keep them honest. Folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. You guys have a wonderful day. And you know how I end this baby. I am out.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.